Rich, just word on the conditions first of all. How tough has it been this week with the latest storm?
Yeah, it's been pretty blowy out there for team run this morning. We had to shorten everything up, and the conditions, you would say, and talking to our groundsman Ryan Golding, I think there's some more forecasts for tomorrow, some high winds. Without having a crystal ball, it's fair to say the conditions could be, could play a part in tomorrow's game.
Do you have to go there with a plan A and a plan B?
Yeah, we talked about that. We'd like to think we got some systems in place that we don't have to change too much. We can just be adaptable, and we've played 3 different styles of opposition in the first 3 weeks, 3 very different styles of opposition. So, we don't have to rehash everything every week. We got our style and we got our systems, and we might just make some tweaks depending on who we play and what the weather conditions are. But yeah, wind is always a bigger test, really. I think everybody has a style and can play a bit of wet weather football, and some teams are better than others at playing wet weather football. But wind, high winds are probably the most challenging conditions that you can encounter in our sport. So we'll see how it is. They're not always right, the weather forecasters, but it'd be same for both teams, whatever the conditions.
What are you expecting from Salford then?
Yeah, well, they've made some obvious changes to the team. What made the grand final last year, but I can still see a real hard working team. A well organised team. I think the fact that they've changed the halfbacks around a little bit means that they're going to have to get used to some different styles and build those relationships up. But I do see a team. Even when I watched them play Saints, I thought Saints were really good in round 1. Well organised and defensively, very, very sound.
Kevin Brown's a big miss for them, isn't
he? Yeah, he is. I thought Chris Atkin, certainly if he's the guy that steps up and plays in that role, we'll give him a left-footed kicking game, which gives them, a good added extra option really in that part of the game. And he's a player that's played some good first grade football for OKR. But yeah, just watching Kevin play this year, I thought he started in pretty good nick. I thought defensively he's been very good for him on that edge, which obviously, when you think about Kevin, you think about his ball playing abilities and his ability to read a game. You can see he's got some of the plays what he likes, what really suit his style of play in and around him, and he's had some success with that. And I thought he'd started in pretty good nick. So yeah, Kevin not playing may well give us a different look on that left edge, and Dan Sargison's not in the squad too, so as I say, it'll be a look that we've not seen before over on that side.
And without Brown, I guess there'll be more onus on Tui Lola here.
Yep.
Expect him to grow a leg, wouldn't you, against his former side?
Yeah, I think this might sound a bit funny, but we were pleased. Tui had a good season last year. I think the change came around because of us, because we felt we needed a different type of a half, and we got one in Rob, and I think for both sides the change really worked. Tui went into a team there that were performing really well, going on a really solid base, a confident team, and I think Tui's bits of magic that he added to that team on their running, were brilliant for him and brilliant for them at that time of the year. I don't think Tui left here with anybody within our organisation thinking, this kid's not a good player and not a good kid, but the circumstances for us at the time and the opportunity at the time led both clubs to obviously making that move and transfer. And I think it's fair to say it's worked out for both parties, and I'm really pleased it did work out for him, because we think he's a player with a lot of talent and given the platform. I just don't think at the time playing for us last year we were strong enough as a team to help him showcase his talents. I think it's very difficult when you're playing in the halves and you're a player that plays with flair, to play in a team predominantly on the back foot at that time, not defending really well, not giving him a great platform to play off. It would have been frustrating for him at that time. So no, look, it's done. We think Rob Louis, we think it's gone great for us. He's a real popular player within our place, and I would say Salford would say exactly the same about Tui. So yeah, I'd expect Tui, as most players do, want to try and get one over on their old club and aim up, and maybe Rob Louis feeling the same too.
On his 100th Super League appearance?
Yeah, 100th Super League appearance. There's been a bit of conjecture in the changing room this morning that he's not actually a 30-year-old. That's been a long time coming. but I'm not quite sure what they're on about in whether he looks young or he looks old.
Should ask him. Your squad, you've named the same 21, haven't you?
Yes,
right?
we have. Yeah, we
Do
have.
you go with the same 17, do you think?
We might see what the conditions are in the morning.
How do you change your side after what happened to you?
Yes, team played pretty well last week, and that's great. That's what we want. We want to drive up competition for places and drive up our standards, and it's important for us to try and back it up this week. You know, we said post game last week we had a really disappointing round one, but you know, internally, you know, we understood where we went wrong and what we needed to do to fix it up. Thought we came out great last week, showed a real good attitude, positive attitude with the ball right from the word go. Different team we're playing this week, really different challenges as a team to what we played last week and style of footy that Salford will play. But for us, again, just be consistent in our actions and understand the parts of the game that if we're good at, make sure we've got energy in us legs and playing down the right end of the field.
And just to back up that performance as well would give the squad an immense amount of confidence, wouldn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Being a consistent team is what it's all about, and that's what's going to get you where you want to get at the end of the season, which is in the playoff spots and challenging. So, you know, that's important for us. We talk a lot about consistency in his actions and behaviours, and you know, it'd be good for us to back that up and replicate it. You know, this week, you know, you can be consistent and play well and still not get the win, but I think as a coach, that's what you're looking for. Those consistency in actions and delivering, you know, delivering on our word and delivering what we've practiced in the week. And if we do that, you know, we'll be happy.
Any thoughts on how the World Club Challenge might go?
No thoughts at all, really. Giving it zero thought this week, really. Catching up with Craig Fitzgibbon tonight, who's a good mate of mine from our time together. So I'm going over for a little bit of a hour's catch up with him. I think they've enjoyed the trip. You know, been over to Barcelona. They trained at the Olympic Stadium. I think they've got a couple of sightseeing things on Man City and going over the Warrington game. So it's been a busy and hectic week. But yeah, I know from experience. I've spent some bits of time in their organisation over the years. You know, they're an extremely well-run and well-coached organisation, and you know, full of good people and impressive talent. And you know, I know Trent won't be bringing them over here on a sort of pre-season Contiki tour. They'll be coming to take home that trophy. Be a tough challenge. I hope Saints can get all the main players on the field. You know, I hope they're sort of injury-free and they can get the best form out, and it's a great contest.
Brilliant, thank you.
Cheers. On the injury front, Rich, some big strides forward this week for Tom Briscoe and Don Crosby back up, running on the field, and some resolution on Cruz leaving.
Yes, we have. Yeah, Cruz has been a real difficult one, and difficult for us all. Difficult for the kid in particular, because obviously new joined the club. We were ultra excited about the start of the season, and then you know, pretty innocuous really, nobody near him, and just stepped off his. You know, put a step on into some contact before he got to the contact, and yeah, some problems with his knee, and yeah, it took a while to sort of get the full prognosis. We have had you know, an attempt at trying to rectify it without surgery. You know, we didn't want to do surgery immediately because he got a good knee, and once you start, you know, going inside a knee, it's never as good as it ever was before. But unfortunately, you know, the final conclusion was that he needed surgery, and sizable surgery at that. So yeah, he's got a resolution to it. He's already been down to London, had it done by probably the top surgeon in the country. So probably looking at, you know, around, it could be 12 to 16 weeks, but we're looking at more of the top end of that, and it being 16 weeks. So yeah, it's a blow. It's a blow for him. You know, he's an ultra professional and driven young player, and you know, we'll miss him. But we'll get him right, and you know, we always sign Cruz for the long term. He'll do everything he can rehabilitation wise to make sure he beats that. But yeah, it's been a tough one for us all to handle, really. Tommy Briscoe. Tommy's a powerhouse, as we know. You know, he's been renowned for that sort of big backside and big thighs. He's a powerhouse sort of as an athlete, and I think where his ACL has happened, that's been a real positive for him. because ACL's as tough an injury as you can get, he probably had quite ironic saying this really, but he had as good an ACL as you could hope for in terms of the injury. So he's a smart kid, knows his body real well, and he's done everything he can, along with Alex, our physio, and Gaz to rehab himself, and he's way ahead of schedule. He's back in training with us now and almost returning to full training. We want to give him a good 3 or 4 weeks yet to make sure that he's right before we even contemplate playing him. So I'd anticipate from here on, he might be 5 or 6 weeks away, which I think puts him about 7 months. Which an ACL, they quote you 6 to 9, but generally it's more often than not it's a 9-month injury. So we're hoping to get him back in what'll be around 7 months. Dom Crosby's picked up increasing his loading on his knee. We're going to have to wait and see what sort of reactions he gets from that, but so far so good. Stevie's return to play protocols have started, so fingers crossed and see how they go. I thought he might be back in contention this week, so I don't want to comment too early on that until we get him through the week. And just one on Rhys Martin, his cut's just, he's got a bullet hole in his chest really. It's just not healed up sufficiently. He's trained all week with us, but there's a major concern and risk of infection until it's sufficiently healed. So we'll give Rhys another week.
Was Cruz actually a tear that you found? Or?
Tear to a cartilage, but it's a bit more complicated than that. It's sort of behind his kneecap. So I'll get physio in and he'll give you a deeper explanation. But it just simply it took a long time for me to explain how it unravelled, and we went through a process of trying to fix it with PRP, which is where they spin the blood and regenerates growth and healing. But it just didn't show enough recovery on the back of 3 or 4 weeks PRP. We tried to avoid surgery at all costs, but ultimately they didn't know the full extent of the injury, even with scans, until they went in with a camera. So it was a case of, look, this could be 6 weeks when we get in there, but it could also be longer. And when they've got in, it's probably worst case scenario really for the kid. So he's going to be 4 months.